Time with T and A and M and B. Today's chapter 27, I have Sex Does Not Equal Taboo. And today, this is my first ever group Zoom, so I'm super excited. I have Artis, I have Mackenzie, and I have Brando.
Yeah, what up?
And what else is special about today? It's Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day, everyone!
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
This is for the lovers.
All right, let's do our first cheers. Cheers. I am drinking my favorite rosé because honestly, I know I show it every time I film it. If you guys don't understand, anytime we find this at a grocery store, we literally buy everything they have. And they're kind of expensive. They're like $7 a can, but so bomb, and they get you super fucked up. Like Artis, right?
Yeah.
You can you can speak to it.
So good.
Artis, what are you drinking tonight?
So I have some tea. I have this red refresh from Trader Joe's, and then also a is it cinnamon? Yeah, cinnamon inside here. Just mix them together. And then in case this is over, I got a little bit of wine right here. So I'm ready for round two.
Yes. What about you, Mackenzie?
I am sipping on some red wine. This is the red blend. It's called Head to Head. That's my little bottle right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just wanted to try something new, and it caught my eye, so that's what I'm trying.
And
It's a head, I
Brando?
like that.
This is Jack Daniels with a hint of Pepsi, the real sugar Pepsi, dark blue.
All right, let's do one more cheers before we get started. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, so on today's chapter 27, Sex Does Not Equal Taboo. It kind of says it in the title. We will be talking about sex and kind of why the stigma behind it is all about taboo, right? We can't talk about it. You can't discuss it. It's inappropriate. It's unprofessional. There's so many excuses that people make as to why we can't talk about it. And that's why I brought 3 different friends of mine to kind of share their insight. Each of them kind of have their own little backstory, and that's why I kind of wanted all of us to share it. I do want to throw a disclaimer, obviously, because we're going to be talking about sex. So this will be a more rated R, Tea Time with T. So if you don't want to hear about sex, if you don't want to hear about body parts, if you don't want to hear about gay sex, straight sex, lesbian sex, whatever it is that we're going to discuss, I do advise you to turn this off and not watch this Tea Time with T. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm super excited about having this tea time. Quick fun fact to let everyone know, we were supposed to do this tea time back in December of 2020 for New Year's Eve. My original goal was to have all of these lovely people in my living room, and we were going to do like a whole sit down, comfy on my sofa with our drinks in our hand. But due to COVID, obviously I couldn't do that, so I pushed it back to do it for Valentine's. So I'm super excited just to kind of give everyone a little fun fact about everyone. Artis, you guys know he's my best friend. He was on chapter, I don't know. I did write it down.
Depression.
Yeah, depression. He was on my depression chapter. So he is my second returning guest on with Tea Time with T. So I'm super excited. Welcome back, Artis. Then we got Mackenzie. Then we have Mackenzie, who I worked with her. She's one of my closest friends that I met working in parades. I will tell everyone right here, right now, honestly, the reason why I am the way I am today, where I'm open about my sexuality, where I'm open about being sexy, is honestly because of this girl right here. She opened my eyes up. She made me feel confident. She made me feel beautiful. I literally am the woman I am today because of her. So.
You've never said that before. Thank you.
I could have swore I told you.
No, I was like, hey, I got the first shout out in the first Tea Time with T. But yeah, wow. I'm so touched. Thank you.
Yeah, and then we got Brando over here, who I used to work with at Disney. Super big sweetheart teddy bear that I love so much. And Brando always encourages me when I'm on Instagram and feeling insecure. And, I don't know if I should post this photo. Is it too sexy? Is it too this? Brando's always got my back. So, yay.
Hey.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with the first question. My first question to all 3 of you is, what does sex mean to you? Let's go ahead and start with Mackenzie. Girl.
Oh, man. What does sex mean to me? Wow, a lot of things. Connection being one. I think it's playtime for me. It's I don't know how else to put it besides, it's connection, it's playtime. Like for me, it's not about the end result. It's not always about the orgasm. It's about how you got there. Like it's about the playtime that you took to get there. It's about, like, a lot of the times you can hear people explain it like, orgasms are great, right? But what's really great about it is the feeling that you have right before you orgasm. So it's like that prolongedness and continuing to like play around that. It's really special. And for me, sex is like a mental connection. If long story short, like if you're not stimulating my brain, I am not going to be letting you stimulate my body. That's just kind of how I roll. I have never had a one night stand, but I've had a lot of sexual experiences because I choose my partners based off of how much they are mentally stimulating me. And that makes me feel like I can trust them to connect with them and have these really great experiences. So for me, sex is all about connection, playtime, and journey, for sure.
Wow, I love that. I didn't know you've never had a one night stand. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brando, what does sex mean to you?
I think it's part of the human condition. It's part of being an adult, like being a person almost. Because I think from the age of like, everyone knows your first boob that you ever saw, the first guy you ever had a crush on, that first moment you've ever been aroused. And, from that point until your last one, depending, how long we're on this earth, sex will have a certain level of importance to you. Now, in reality, it's really important in your teen years, and it kind of falters as you get older and you get your families and you get your careers and so on and so forth. But sex is something that's an important part of being you.
And being alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. All right, Artis, what does sex mean to you?
Well, obviously I'm the hoe in the group because all the connection and everything, we love that. But on the flip side of that, it can also be a connection with some random guy that you just meet some random place, and you're just like, I don't need you all the time, but I just need you right now. And so sex to me can be a right now, or connection wise, it could be anytime, or Mr. Right Now. I need Mr. Right Now.
I love it. I actually have had one night stands because to me, sex is about the pleasure. It's, yes, I want romance. Yes, I want the connection. Yes, it's because it's who I am. Yes, I want Mr. Right Now or Mrs. Right Now if that ever happens. But to me, it's about the pleasure of it all because I am such a passionate person. It's a way for me to express my passion through my body rather than my words. I mean, obviously moaning has something to do with it too, because I'm loud as fuck, but it has to do with me expressing my passion to who I'm with. I love it. Alrighty. So my next question, why is talking about sex so taboo? I'm gonna throw this question off to Brando. Brando, why do you think sex is so taboo?
I think that it shouldn't be. I think that it's considered taboo because of we at a very young age, be it school or be it church or what have you, are told that it is. We're not even given the actual names originally. It's the pee, not the penis. It's the, you know what I mean? It's the no spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things like that. And so at a certain point, those who don't go out and experience and take a walk on the wild side, it's, for lack of a better term, will hold on to that tabooness. They'll hold on to their being conservative, and they'll try to maintain that.
And I think that has a lot to do with it. It is about how we are raised, right? Like you said, the boobies, the pee-pee, the wee-wee, we were taught all these fun little names and not exactly what they are. And it is taught that it's a bad thing, right? You don't have sex until you're in love. You don't have sex for religious people. You don't have sex until marriage. So I've had a lot of friends who have waited for marriage. I actually have a really good friend of mine who is still a virgin, and she's my age, in her 30s. And it's because she's been told her entire life you have to wait till marriage. Poor thing, now in her 30s, she's like, well, fuck, I wish I didn't listen to my parents, because now here I am in my 30s, still a virgin, not dating anyone, like not having kids, not doing all these things that they have taught us since we were kids. So now she's screwed in her own mindset. And it's just one of those things, like, I don't know. I mean, Mackenzie, what about you? Like, what were you told when you were younger about sex?
I mean, my parents they're supportive. It's all about make the right choices, and they trust me to make the right safe choices. And that's always stuck with me. I think for the most part, they were never, we're not super religious folk. It was never, this is bad, this is good. It was, please make smart choices. And when you're ready to do that, do it with the right people and make sure you're ready. And I was like, even losing my virginity, that shit was planned. I knew exactly who I was doing it with. I did lose it at a young age, but I feel like we made the right choices. I had been with this person for like 9 months, and it's like your stereotypical like we planned to do it the day after homecoming, and I have no regrets about my first time. It was exactly what I wanted it to be, and I think at the end of the day, that's the special part about when you're ready to become sexually active. It should be what you want it to be, and when you're ready to make that choice. But why is sex taboo? I think taboo to me is another way of saying that something is uncomfortable to be talked about, something that we don't know a lot about. A lot of the topics that are considered taboo are things that are not the majority interest, are not the majority likings. So when we don't know much about something, we just shove it to the side and we label it as like, oh, that's taboo. And really all that means is we don't really know how to talk about it. And it's uncomfortable to talk about. So really on the light side of that, I think taboo topics, if nothing else, that tells us that those are the things that we should be talking about so that we are well educated and we understand our bodies. And to your point, it's about pleasure. And we are somehow ingrained at some point in our life that it's kind of hand in hand with self-love, right? And if you don't know how to love yourself, if you're not conditioned how to love yourself, your self-love that sort of trains you that your pleasure is hand in hand with that. And if you can't love yourself, then you feel like pleasure doesn't go with that either. So we just sort of tuck it in the back, and pleasure should be, that is a big part of loving yourself is experiencing pleasure. So that's my opinion on taboo.
Well, I think it's funny because it's true. It's because we're not educated on it. Actually, during the beginning of this pandemic, Sean and I were sitting on the sofa and we started talking about sex, and we're like, when did this originate? I don't even know. I think it was like going down on a female or something. And we looked into it, and the Egyptians started that shit. Like, it was so okay then for a girl to get her punani licked. Like, it was the norm. So what happened between the Egyptians to now that has made it so taboo?
Well, and think back to every painting you've seen of like our Roman times, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it's orgy city. Dudes are doing dudes, girls are doing girls, everyone's doing everybody, all in the same room, everyone's being passed around and shared. That was the norm.
No, you're so right. All right, next question. Mackenzie already touched on it, so I'm going to throw this one to Artis. Do you remember your first time having sex? Losing
That is so funny because I literally was thinking about this. I'm driving back from, I had some sex before this, so, but, right. I had to prepare myself,
You got your head in the game.
Yeah, keep my head in the game, literally. I'm on my way back and I'm thinking about this question. I'm like, honestly, I don't remember my first time. Like, it's been so long, but I don't remember my first time. I remember my first time I've had oral sex. That's all.
Is it because that one was more memorable to you?
Yeah, because it kind of forced me to like be more gay at that time. Yeah. I was in 8th grade and yeah, 8th grade. And I was in one of my science classes and this guy sat across from me and he was super gay already. Like, he was already out and everyone knew it. And I wasn't out at all. And he was all rubbing my leg under the desk. And then I was like, trying to hold back. And he sent me a paper. He's like, do you want to do something after school today? And I was like, yeah, I guess so, And then so I remember seeing him again after 6th period, just backing by, and he asked me, he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we went to the bathroom after school and he like full on gave me head. And honestly, that was the first time I've ever been in that situation, but I just remember being like uncomfortable when I left. Afterward, like during the time it was great, but like when we're leaving, there was all these people that were gathering inside the restroom and they're waiting for like the big stall to open up. That's where we were at. Yeah. And I got out of there and I just booked it home. I like ran home and I was like, I can never talk about this ever again, And I remember the next day he was all rubbing me. He's like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And I was like, I just did not feel comfortable at that time.
Yeah. And I think too, because especially gay sex, especially then, was another taboo thing or something, so foreign to most people. And if you were having gay sex, you didn't talk about it, you didn't know about it, you weren't educated about it. I mean, how many times do you hear on TV shows now, they don't talk about gay sex in school. They talk about, a man and a woman. They don't ever talk about woman to man and man. So it's like, how do you know what you're doing? How do you know if you're doing it right? And especially at that young of an age, you don't know. Yeah, you can watch porn, but other than that, there is no other way of learning.
And like porn's not a good way to be learning anyways.
But that's how most guys learn, quite frankly, because that and lies that our buddies tell us. And I say lies because regardless of the level of that they've gotten at that point, they're still embellishing. You know, like
Right. And fun fact, girls too.
it's gonna be like, oh yeah, and there was 3 of them, and you know, like,
That sounds like my friends now.
Well, and that's the crazy thing as women. Yes, men, like you said, men would learn how to have sex based off porn. I've heard that from hundreds of guys. But us as women, to watch porn, it's unrealistic. It's hard. It puts a pressure on us as a female because we expect that, oh, wait, we're supposed to do it like that. This is the outcome. This is how the guy's supposed to react. This is what I should be doing. And it's like, that's not a reality. And that's what makes it hard for us women because we're like, oh, fuck, I can't be on that level. I'm not on that level. I don't know how to be on that level. And then the men expect it from us. And then it just puts that pressure more on us as females to have those standards and meet those expectations based off of porn. So yeah, porn's not a good way to learn anything. So if you're watching this and you're still a virgin, do not watch porn for the first time to learn how to have sex.
I mean, watch it to enjoy it, but you know,
No, fuck that.
No,
No,
it's
fuck that. You better watch
it's
porn,
entertainment.
okay?
It's entertainment.
Watch
It's
that
not-
porn, okay? Act like you're a star that you are, okay? Be a king in the room, okay?
Yes.
Like,
I'm
be a
just
star, okay? You know?
I'm just saying, like, you don't learn how war works from a movie, but you can still watch a movie about war. You know what I mean?
So that's a good way to put it. And to Arteese's point is like, yes, if you're going to watch porn to get some tips, do it for you, not for what you think the expectation of you is supposed to be in the bedroom. Like watch porn because you want to learn like a fun new whatever in the bedroom, or maybe you need to work on your dirty talk or whatever the case is. Like watch porn for those reasons for you because I want to feel like a porn star in the bedroom, but don't be watching it because it's like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to act with this other person. Like I think for you rather than the expectation is the way to look at it. So that was a good point, Arteese.
So I know this is totally, well, not off subject, but it's totally off my little agenda. But the way I watched porn for the first time was kind of traumatic. I was in a car with 2 guys and a girl, and this girl was super experienced, way more experienced than I was. I was 20 at the time. She, her boyfriend, and the guy that they were trying to hook me up with locked me in the fucking car and had porn playing on someone's phone and had that shit blaring so fucking loud to make sure that I watched it and learned from that fucking porn.
That's not cool.
Wow,
That's
that's
not
not
cool.
fucked up.
But yeah,
So I will.
that's right along with doing stuff before you're ready. Like that's not okay.
It was so fucking cruel. I remember thinking, I want to cry, but I don't want to look like a fucking pussy in front of like this girl and like these 2 guys. And at the same, but I didn't want to like pretend I'm something I wasn't. Like I remember freaking the fuck out. I remember screaming like, "You guys, stop! I don't want to do this. I can't take this." And I literally think that's what turned me into the fucking porn addict that I am. Like, because I was like forced into it. Another fun fact, I was telling Arteese, I just watched a porn documentary on Netflix, like, I don't know, like 2-3 weeks ago. And it was by chance. It said something, I don't remember what it said. I don't remember the title. So I'm watching it and it's talking about like porn stars and a lot of the females, how they start off at their age of 18 and they come from Florida. And I literally don't ever want to watch porn again after watching this documentary. Like it literally grossed me out and freaked me out. And I was like, I guess I never really realized how bad the porn industry is because I used it for pleasure. I used it for imagination. Like I've been using it. I've been using it since that traumatic experience, you know, like because I'm a mental person. So if my mind is not in it, I can't get turned on. I can't come. I won't have fun. I won't do anything. My mind has to be in it to win it. And so sometimes that's why I've used porn to kind of put me into that mood. And that way I have something to fantasize about. But since I watched that documentary, I was like, I think I'm good. I don't think I need that anymore.
Yeah, we definitely don't shed enough light on, you know, there are plenty of porn stars in the industry who made a choice and totally envelop that part of themselves and they're super comfortable. But we do often not shed light on the fact that there's a lot of porn stars in the industry where they were forced into it, especially in a lot of other countries. The porn industry is different depending on where you're at. So that was a really good point. I haven't seen the documentary, but now I want to.
So It's really, really good. And I was just, it's so funny because Sean was looking at my Netflix account and I have that thing on there. And then I watched that movie, Sex Educate, or that TV show, Sex Education. It's like some British stupid TV show. And then
I love it. How dare you?
That's what then I like watched them. I binged those 2 seasons so quick. And then I had Sex in the City. And then I had something else. And he's like, it looks like you're obsessed with sex because literally everything on my Netflix account is sex related.
And that's okay.
All right, let's go for the next question. I'm gonna throw it back to Brando. What's your most fondest sexual memory?
Oh wow. Losing my virginity is pretty cool. That was a good one. I was 17, Westminster High, and it was the not the homecoming dance, but the one after that. What's the one that's between winter formal and between homecoming?
Summer?
One that one was.
Oh,
I don't know, because I was just like a normal person. But anyway, I got with this girl, and I hardly knew her, but we were dancing, and she was grinding on me, and my body reacted the way it's intended to when someone grinds on me. And she got very excited, which I was like, "Oh, word, okay, cool," you know. And then she goes, "Do you want to get it in?" And she said it like just like that, and I was like, "Yeah, yes, I do." And it happened. It happened at the dance. So that's really high on the list. As far as the coolest story, a stripper picked me up, and that was kind of cool because I was having a really bad day, and I don't remember what was going on, but I was not in a good headspace. And I went to a gentleman's club, and this girl walks over, and she's got on like a baggy white t-shirt and like blue jeans. So she was clearly not working, or maybe I think she was just getting off of work, and there was like a shift change or something. I don't know. But in any event, she goes and she stops. She goes, "You have really pretty eyes," and I was taken aback by that. And then from there, she like sat down on my lap, and one thing led to another, and then it happened right there. And we had like a little, I wouldn't call it a relationship, but a little weekend thing, you know. I screwed it up in the end because she was living a double life situation, and she was working at like a Macy's or something. It was like assistant supervisor, like it was like, and I thought, because I'm an idiot, and I was like 22, 23 at the time, I thought it would be a good idea to surprise her and visit her at work. Um, Bad decision. I walked in and she turned like ghostly white, like she saw a ghost, and she thought I was gonna out her or something, and I wasn't. I was just coming to like flirt and like be a butthead, and it kind of ended because I did that. But it was cool because I didn't show up expecting that, and she clearly wasn't, like, she wasn't even on the clock anymore. So it was one of those like, dear penthouse form, you know, like one of those like, this doesn't happen to people, but it happened to me, and that was pretty rad.
No, I love that.
True stories.
Girl. Alrighty. I'm gonna throw this one to Ortiz. Do you think sex is important in a relationship?
Ooh, I'm single, so anyone, hook me up. I know, right? Put myself out there all the time. In a relationship, definitely. I definitely, if I'm ever I'm looking for a relationship, like sex is something that I'm like, first I have to know. Well, obviously, because I'm a gay male, so I need to know personally if you are a top or your bottom, because I need to know where I'm going to be going. And so in a relationship, yes, but I also need to know like how advanced can you go into sex? Because I mean, you can be super vanilla, but I know for myself, like I like, more kinky stuff, more BDSM stuff. So I need to know like where you're at because like we said, pleasure like means a lot. So I need to know where you're going to pleasure me at, because if you're going to be super vanilla, it's not for me.
So that's something that you ask. How far into knowing someone do you ask them, hey, are you a top or bottom? And are you a vanilla or BDSM, or however you decide to word it? Like, how quick into a relationship or a friendship, do you ask those questions?
I think it's like once you like get comfortable after you like gone through all the basic questions and then you want to actually I guess it can kind of be like part of the basic questions because you do want to get there before you get too deep into something and you're like, oh, you guys are two bottoms and you're like, oh, I have no interest in talking ever. So, you do you waste like three months trying to get to know this person or can you just get it done in the first couple of days?
But that's interesting though about gay relationships compared to straight relationships. We don't ask that. Like if I start dating a guy and I straight up asked him, hey, are you into like traditional standard sex, are you into some kinky shit, they'd be like either hella turned on and not really be interested in a relationship, or B, they'd be like, what the fuck, this bitch is crazy. Like it's
Okay, so counter question, why do you think they would think you were crazy? So say you're somebody who is into kinkier sex and vanilla is not your thing, that's a straight or gay thing. If you just start dating a guy and you're somebody who's looking for a relationship, do you want to spend time getting to know somebody? Like, is that a make it or break it scenario or not a make it or break it scenario? If you meet somebody and you're like, well, I know I like this type of sex, but I really like this guy. So if he's not into that type of sex, I'm willing to give it up. Like, what if you end up marrying the dude and then you never get the type of sex you want? I feel like that's super important to get out of the way.
Wait, this is my soapbox right now.
Ooh, do it.
I mean, everyone knows I'm super open and honest about my sex life. We kind of shared some during me and Sean's Tea Time with Tea about infertility. And this question and your part about this, Mackenzie, is so true because Sean knows he's very vanilla. And I wish I had asked that question when we first started dating. I wish I had known that. I wish I knew better. Obviously, I was younger. I was 26. It should become a norm because the only issues that we've ever had in our marriage is our sex life. Sean and I don't fight. We don't argue. We don't care. We're great on financial stuff. We're great on communication. We're great on everything except our sex life. Because those of you that know me know I can't be tamed. I am a wild child. I am a very sexual, passionate person where my husband is not. And I would never say I wish I didn't marry him. I would never say that. But things might have been differently within the last 9 years if this was something I had brought up 9 years ago. And I think we do need to make it a norm where straight couples ask that question, about, hey, where are you on the sexual level? Are you someone who just does it to make love? Or are you someone who is doing it for the pleasure and for the excitement and the fun, like you stated? Where do you fall? And I think that is so important because I don't think people do that.
And I think they don't do it out of fear. And again, it goes back to like the self-love part of it is like, what part of us goes like, I'm willing to give up a sensual, pleasureful side of myself for the sake of possibly not ending up with a husband or wife or life partner. You know what I mean? Like what part of us goes like, oh, that's okay. Like, I don't need to know that first but again, to each his own. I realize there are a lot of people who are, say asexual or like sex is just not important to you in your relationship. And that's like no hate on you either. If sex is not your thing, if your hormone levels are not there and sex is not your thing, that's understandable too. That might just not be the first thing on your brain, to which you wouldn't care whether or not that was abundant in your relationship,
Yeah.
I think the conversation is important for all couples. As soon as it happens is a different story. Like I personally try to bring it up. I don't want to say the first date because that might nix the second date depending on the girl, unfortunately, and that's reality. Because they think you're all about getting in their pants because you brought up sex, when in reality, no, everyone's got their love language, and mine is that physicality. And I've been in relationships where that's been held from me, where I've done all of you know, the supportive, the financial support, the romanticness, the killing the bugs, the all of the little things as they call it. And when it's time for what matters to me, it would be pulling teeth, or it'd be it's just all you're about, kind of a thing. So like I don't want necessarily to be in a relationship with someone that's gonna be, I guess you guys said vanilla or on the more conservative side, prudish side. Like I can't, because I'm 35 and I've wasted, I don't even know how many years, if you add months up, on girls that I thought, oh, wow, she's amazing. And don't worry, she'll come around. Well, they didn't come around. And yeah, things would have happened. Yeah, maybe we did have sex or whatever, but it was still not the way I wanted it to be or whatever, So I think it's important to have that conversation.
And knowing your boundaries and knowing your limits and knowing what excites you and knowing what it doesn't and having that communication from the get-go. And I think that's why people cheat, and I think that's why people are unhappy, and there's divorces in regards to, I mean, obviously there's divorces for other reasons, but in regards to sex, it's because those conversations are not happening, and people honestly do not realize how important it is for someone who is vanilla. It's not important. They don't think about sex as often. To them, it's a little treat. It's a little icing on the cake of their marriage or their relationship, right? But people who are not vanilla and who are into BDSM or who are into, more kinkier things, it's like, no, this is important. This is what pushes me. This is what I want. This is what I desire. And that's when there becomes problems in a relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Brando, you brought up a really good point. I just want to touch on, because I remember you said love languages, and keeping in mind there's a million love languages that have nothing to do with sex. So I guess for this sake we'll call them pleasure languages. You don't have to speak the same pleasure language as your partner, but you do need to understand what their pleasure language is and how to communicate it with them when need be. And if you find that you can't do that, then I think if sex is important to you, like that's something to understand, is you do need to understand how to communicate that with your partner. And if it's not matching up, then that means to maybe be another conversation. And to your point of like, it was never really quite what you wanted it to be. I would wonder, like, was that communicated with your partner? Did you know how to effectively communicate your needs, or vice versa? So things to think about there.
Well, I mean, I would say, for me, yeah, I feel like I did.
Okay.
But a lot of times it would be yeah, but I can't because X, Y, and Z, or not now, or you know what I mean? Like, and after a while, it was okay, cool, but I'm going to your book club right now. You know what I mean? Like,
no hate on book clubs. Book clubs are great.
You know what I mean? But I mean, like, I didn't want to go to your book club. It's very important to you. Like, this is important to me. Like one of those kind of things.
And I think that's a big thing, is finding that compromise or finding that balance or finding that common ground or whatever you want to say it is, as to what works for the both of you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got some sex taboos that I kind of throw out there before we get cut off on this Zoom. So here are some sex taboos that I found online. Anal is a taboo. Period sex. So having sex during a woman's period. Body hair, those pubic hairs. Now having an orgasm, and Mackenzie kind of touched on that earlier. Having multiple partners. So, having sex with one person, the next day having sex with another person, or even that same day having sex with a different person. Sex toys. Is it okay to use sex toys during sex? BDSM, which is a huge one. Masturbation, especially for females. We touched on this during another conversation, that for men, it's already known. People know men are gonna fucking play with their fucking wank, like they're gonna do it. But as a female, it is very taboo for us to masturbate. It's gross, it's disgusting, it's a sacred place, we shouldn't touch it, blah blah blah. But no, it shouldn't be that way. And lastly, oral sex. Oral sex is another one still to this day that is very taboo. So I'm gonna kind of throw it up to you guys. Artis, is there one that you kind of want to discuss on those taboos?
There's so many. Anal sex, oral sex. We already talked about BDSM. I don't think we need to get to anal sex.
Wait, you cut out on us, or on me?
Yeah, you got a little choppy there, dear. Oh no, he's frozen.
We lost him.
Artis, come back.
He was about to make his point too. Like he was gonna.
I was ready.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there you are.
Oh, there he is.
It like froze for a second, and everyone was frozen, and then here I am.
All right, Artis, do you want to go ahead and touch on whichever one you feel you want to touch on?
Yeah. Let's do anal sex. And for me, it's being gay already, and then having anal sex on top of it. And I think it's so taboo because taboo is like what it's meaning, like whatever makes you seem like an animal. And most people don't, they're always like, don't stop acting like an animal. And you hear that throughout life. Stop acting like an animal. So when people think about something taboo, they're thinking about something like unnatural. Unnatural, that meaning reminiscing that you are an animal. And so they're thinking that a normal would be a guy, you know, a guy and a girl, no matter what it is. But then if you see like something like two men or two women having sex, you know, especially like up the ass, you know, like I feel like you hear it more. If you think about anal sex, you think about automatically it's like, oh, two guys having sex. You're like, oh, you know, like we don't want to talk about that, you know. And so that can be like a huge taboo for just in the LGBT community.
Wow, that's interesting because as women, I know that is something a lot of guys get turned on if a woman says, yes, I want anal. But it's also not every guy wants to give anal, or not every girl wants anal because it is so taboo, or it makes you freakier or naughtier or whatever the stigma around it is. All right, Mackenzie, what about you? Is there anything on that list that you know want to share about being taboo?
Oh man, I would say I'll talk about period sex. That's a fun topic. Period sex. It's different for everybody. It's all about comfortability levels, right? So at the end of the day, it's one. If you're a male and you're not comfortable having period sex, ladies, sorry, in my opinion, leave them. End of the day, that is something natural that your body does, and you have no fucking control over it. Okay, I will say that a billion times. If you were with somebody who's like, oh, I'll wait 1 week till you're done or whatever. Sorry, like that makes zero sense to me. I get it if it's weird or gross, to each his own, but to me, that is something that you cannot control. Fucking put a towel down. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna go ahead and combine this with the toys one. If you're that uncomfortable having sex with somebody, physically putting your body inside somebody else's body who is producing menstrual blood, invite a toy into the bedroom, men, or, you know, if that's not your thing. I totally understand not wanting to go down on somebody if they're on their period. There are plenty of people that do. That one I get. Obviously, you don't want it in your mouth, but that is like you take a shower after. And if you really don't want to put your body into somebody else's body who is bleeding, I get it. But that doesn't mean that other person should be, I guess, deprived of their sexuality. And I certainly don't want to hear, well, you're on your period, so I guess, but like, I'm not, so you can blow me. No. If you're going to say you cannot have this because of something that your body is doing that you naturally cannot control, then you don't get to benefit from that on your own. If you're going to take it away from your partner, that means you don't get it either. And if you want it, cool, but don't deprive your partner of having that sexual pleasure either. Invite a toy into the bedroom, use a vibrator, use a plug, use whatever. You can still have fun. And again, this is just for me because I think sex is like playtime. You can still play with each other and not have like intercourse. So I think that's a big reason why those two topics are taboo, because they're considered gross or not natural. But a period is about the most natural thing your body can experience. So that one I wish would be taken off the taboo list so fucking fast.
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest. I haven't had period sex in more years than I can count. When I was younger, I didn't give a fuck. I was horny. My ex-boyfriend in high school was horny as fuck. He didn't care. He just wanted to fuck me, whatever. I did it. But since then, as I've gone older, and it might be because of, you know, the relationship I'm in, I feel gross. I feel disgusting. I feel fat. I feel heavy. I feel bloated. I feel disgusting. I literally don't even like leaving the fucking house when I'm on my period. So the last thing I want is for you to touch me when I'm on my period. Like, I lose all sexual desires, everything. I don't feel sexy. You guys don't understand. I feel disgusting when I'm on my period. So the last thing I want is for some man or anyone to touch me when I'm on my period. And it's only been that way since I've gone older, which is super weird. You would have asked me 10 years ago, I'd have been like, fuck yeah, let's fuck, you know? I didn't care. But in regards to sex toys, I agree. Like, I use my sex toy sometimes because, you know, it takes me a while to get off because, like I said, I'm a mental person. So I will use my sex toy because it's easier and faster for me to come. I'd rather come than not come, than keep trying to come, because I got my girls barking in the background. I got my whole life in my fucking mind that I can't focus. Sean uses a cock ring. I will admit it, and it's bomb as fuck, and I love it. But even then, like, I'll tell him. I'll be like, I played with my toy today, and he'd be like, okay. Like, I think there's
no shame in that.
No.
But I do want to go back because I feel like it is okay to ask this, dig on a personal level, because we're allowed to get personal in here. And you've talked about this, I feel like, in your previous episodes. So you said that period sex for you has changed since you've gotten older. So I almost wonder, and I want to encourage you, as I've always encouraged you, to think about your sex sexually, is if period sex was not an issue when you were younger, can we tie you not feeling sexy and you not wanting to be touched? Can you actually fault that 100% to your period? Or do we want to tie in a little bit of self-image with that? Does that have to do with how you see yourself and your self-reflection as you've gotten older and how you've changed? Or is this something that you can honestly say, like, my period makes me feel like I don't want to be touched? Or is this like, my period is making my hormones combined with the fact that I have different self-image issues, now I don't want to be touched?
I will be honest. It's because y'all know my husband is not affectionate, touching. He's not sexual. He's not that. So over 9 years, it has taught me that I don't want it. So I have brainwashed myself. I will be completely honest with everyone. I have brainwashed myself in thinking I don't want it. I don't need it. I'm okay without it because he doesn't want it. He doesn't need it. He doesn't ask for it. If some Tom, Dick, or Harry came off the street and I was super attracted to them and we had this connection and I wanted pleasure, if he was like, I want to have sex with you, and I'm like, I'm on my period, I probably would. You're 100% right, because he would make me feel sexual and sexy and all the things. I'm not saying Sean doesn't make me feel sexy and sexual and all that, but it has been a battle that we have fought for 9 years. So I have already told myself I don't want it. So there you go.
Love that. Love that.
All right.
Brando, last but not least,
Yo.
which one of those sex taboo topics do you kind of want to address?
I mean, I told a story the other time we had a conversation. I think oral sex should not be a taboo. I think it's weird that some people, it kind of goes back to porn. We were talking about porn earlier. People will associate blowjobs or going down on a girl to porn. In reality, I think everybody can do those things. We can all do those things. I don't think it should be a degradation situation for a girl to give a blowjob. I don't think it should be considered quote unquote gross for a dude to do it. I mean, if that's not your jam, that's not your jam. Obviously, everyone's got different tastes and different whatever. I'm not shaming those people. However, I'm saying I don't think that it should be considered taboo that a girl enjoys blowing, like dudes, like I don't think that's a weird thing. She shouldn't get slut shamed for it or whatever. Like it shouldn't just be strictly a porn thing, if you will.
And that's so true, because it is. I mean, I'm back in the day when I was young and single. I remember guys used to ask, well, do you give head? Like, that was a fucking question. And I'd be like, well, duh, who doesn't?
Right.
Because I got introduced to sex from someone who was very sexual, and he and I used to fuck like little jackrabbits, to where it was how I showed my love for him. It was how I showed my affection for him. If he wanted me to please him, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get that fucker to come. And that was my philosophy. It wasn't that, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. This is disgusting, or I'm scandalous. But no, it was like, I want to please my man, and he wants his dick sucked. I'm gonna suck it.
Right. It's just about showing your partner, your significant other, affection. It's I think it's kind of rad.
I love it.
Oral sex is so good. Love some good oral sex, man.
See, there you go.
I love giving and receiving oral sex. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so great. I feel like for us, like for gay people, like it's like that first thing you do when you meet somebody, and I feel like that determines on like how, I don't know, sometimes it can be like how good you are and how not good you are, but it's great.
Mm-hmm. I remember this time I went down on this guy. We didn't have sex, but I went down on him, and he came, and this guy was super tall. He was like 6'5" and super large. And I remember he was so shocked. He's like, oh my God, I never had a girl like go down on me and make me come. And at the time I was like, this is what I do. Like, I was like, okay. I was like, I don't good. This is what I do. I like to please people. That's who I am, and I'm pleasing you, and I pleased you, and that was the end of it. And he went. I remember he went the next day to work and told his best friend, and his best friend came to me and was like, "Oh, I heard you made him come," and I was like, "So." Like
Getting out there.
I don't understand the big deal, but at that time, for this guy, it was a big deal because women or the girls or whoever he messed around with could not do that.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I will
here's the
speak
other thing:
as-
is people just assume that people know how, and like oral sex is never just oral sex. There's not just one way to do it. So I think that's the other thing is when people do it, it's like, oh, well, they don't give good head. Well, did you tell them what to do while they were doing it? Like maybe they're giving you the head that they gave to the last. Like your sexual capacity is only as good as the last person you had it with. So if you're not being taught anything along the way, or if you're not telling somebody, again, it's all communication. If you can't communicate, like I want it like this, or try it like this, or guide them or something, like you don't want to be verbal, but like fucking give notes. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Give notes and take notes, please.
Well, and that's just it. And I'm sorry, but that's how you can tell someone who's more mature to not. I will say it, you youngins. I'm gonna be honest, y'all don't really know, but like I will tell Sean, don't you dare fucking move. I'm about to come, and if you move, I will lose it. Like I will tell him right then and there. Like, no, this is how I like it. This is what I want. Don't raise my hips too high. I like my hips high, or whatever it is. I will say, because you have to, and as a person, as a human, we know what we like, and we have to understand that not everyone is gonna know that. Not everyone knows our body. Not everyone knows. It's funny because in Bridgerton, if you guys have seen the show, he tells her to masturbate, and she was like, "Oh my god, I've never done that." Da, 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 da. And she masturbates because he wants her to know how she likes it. We as humans, this is our body. We have one body. We're going to live with our body for the rest of our life. So if we don't know how we like it, how do we expect anyone else to please us?
Right.
Yeah, very true.
Like, no.
Preach.
And that's
Nailed it.
And that's for masturbation. Like, you have to know how you enjoy. You have to know your hot spots, your spots that you like. You have to know, do you like the speed? Do you like this? I mean, everything, because we're all different, but we have to know what pleases us.
You know what? I think it's the same thing because when you think about BDSM sex, it's the same thing. So you're doing this as a pleasure to pleasure the master, the dom, whoever it is on top of them. So they teach you how to please them. So you're either gonna, suck dick like this, or you're gonna fuck like this. And you have to remember those things, but they're also within BDSM, there's punishment. So you're gonna get a punishment if you don't know how to do it right. And you correct yourself, it's like a mind thing, it's so mind thing is after a while, exactly how he wants it, how it should be done. So, and then after a couple of those, you remember like for like a generic, I know for myself, like if I ever meet a dominant guy, I know like a generic way to act with that person. And they always say, oh, great job, good boy, good sub, whatever it might be. But I think you definitely have to tell your partner, I like it this way, and that's the only way it's gonna get me off.
Yeah, well, I like how you said about a control thing. I have told Sean this numerous times. To me, sex is a control thing. Everyone knows I'm a control freak, and when it comes to sex, I like being in control. The fact, I remember when I was 19 and I would go out partying, I was the worst woman ever. I would literally go up to guys at parties and grind up on them until they got hard, and I'd walk away from them. Like, no joke. But to me,
That's just mean.
It's a game.
No, but I thrived off of knowing I did that shit. And I'm still that way. 35 years old, I'm still knowing that I can turn a guy on or a woman on, whatever sex they are, to know that they fantasize about me or they want me or whatever it is, that's what turns me on. And I manipulate it. I manipulate them thinking that they're in control over me, my mind, my body, my soul, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's me. I'm mind fucking you. Like, I am in control of what my body is doing. I'm in control of letting you be turned on by me. I'm in control of letting you touch my body. And Sean and I have gone back and forth over this because he didn't understand what I meant. I'm like, just understand that to me, sex is about control. And that's one of my biggest turn-ons. And it's always been that way. If I could turn someone on without even doing shit to them, game over.
You know what? It's so much because even in the SM, our a dom and sub relationship, I believe like wholeheartedly that the bottom or the sub has all the control of everything because you're literally putting yourself in this situation. You're letting them do these things to you. You know, you are in control of it. And I like talk to guys all the time who are always like, oh, I'm the dom, I'm the one that's gonna make all the decisions, don't talk back to me. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I have all the control. You just don't know. You don't know, but I have all control. I can stop this like that, and I'm done.
Yep, yep. So, Artis, since you've been talking about it, are you a sub or a dominant?
So when I first started, I was interested in being a dom, and then I met a master. I met another dom. I subbed for a dom for a while, and I got trained by him, and then he also taught me how to dom in a certain way for onto other people. So I consider myself as a switch. So I can bounce back between roles. I like the sub role a lot because I can just play. That's what I feel like I'm just king in the sub role. Like, the dom role, you can be, a king too, but like I said, like, we like to be in control. I feel like super control as the sub, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I always say that I want to be a submissive, and because of that control, because I'm like, motherfucker, in reality, like I said, I'm fucking the shit out of you right now. I'm in control. I have control over the situation. I have control if your dick's gonna get hard, if your pussy's gonna get wet, whatever it is, it's based off of me. But before we end this, I kind of want to touch on Mackenzie, because Mackenzie has had some female interaction, and we haven't really talked about that. So I kind of want you to kind of share whatever you can about your experience with being with another female.
Well, I would say if you're somebody who, so for me, it's interesting because when we talk titles, would I consider myself bisexual? No, I've never really connected with the term. I don't date women. I have no interest in being in a relationship with a woman. I just like bodies, period. An attraction is an attraction. So if it flows, it flows with a woman. I would say if you've ever had, so for TR being somebody who, has an interest and you've never really had that experience yet, I hope that you get to at some point. Because the best thing I can, and it was a really good friend of mine, his wife explained it to me this way. She was like, and I remember like I was texting her about it at one point because I was about to have my first experience, and I was like, I'm kind of nervous, like, but I'm excited. And she goes, let's put it this way. It's familiar. It's your anatomy. It's familiar territory. And that's the best way I can explain it to somebody else who has the curiosity and has not been down that road before, is it's familiar. It's different. If I'm having sex with a male, and granted, I feel like for me, sex is like I don't like just one type. It's like me trying to eat the same meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I like to be more dominant. Sometimes I want to be more submissive. I feel like in my everyday life, I am pretty on top of shit and like HBIC and boss bitch and everything else. And so in the bedroom, I like to be a little bit more on the submissive side, which to everybody's point though, it's fine. Like I like to be on the submissive side, but as we all know, like the submissive one is the one in control. And this is a horrible example of this, but if that still doesn't, if you're watching this and that still doesn't connect with you, but you've seen 50 Shades of Grey, please understand that they sat at two ends of that table and she decided to sign that contract that allowed him to do everything that he did to her. So that's like the best way that I can explain that situation is she had to make the choice. Otherwise he would have never. It's not an aggressive, abusive thing. You have to provide permission for anything to be happening. But I feel like I've been with straight men. I've been with bisexual men. I've been a top, as so one would speak, with other men. I have had like threesome situations with men and women together. It's just different depending on what walk of life you're trying to experience. But I think, yeah, the best thing I can explain about a female is it just, for me, my relations with women, I explain as like, women are my kink. If I get, like, I can get in a certain mood to be with a woman, but I'm not constantly like, I prefer men. Always dick all dick. But occasionally, and that's how I explain it. Occasionally I want some feminine energy. And that's the best way I can put it, is occasionally I crave feminine energy. Being somebody who is typically very tomboy, I am typically looked at as one of the dudes. All of my friends are guys for the most part. Like I have Tiara and maybe two other women in my life that I consider close friends, but all of my other friends are men, and I have always been one of the guys. So sometimes I just crave that feminine energy, and it's nice to have a chick that you can just chill with and occasionally get down with, and it's nothing more than that. I don't want to go on a date with you. I don't want to take you out for a drink, but occasionally it is fun to, again, play. At the end of the day, my sex life, that's all I can explain it as, is playtime. Sex is different than love. I put them on two completely ends of the spectrum, two completely different ends of the spectrum. It's different for me. It's more so, it depends on what the need is for in that moment. But I wouldn't compare, and I realize it's different for everybody, but that's how I would explain it best for me, having been with both, is it's not really, I never look at it as like girl versus boy. It's energy. I'm looking for a more playful energy, a more dominant energy, a more feminine energy. It's all energy to me.
No, I love that. And
Wow.
why I've been questioning my sexuality is because to me it's about connection. And like you said earlier, you are not gonna fuck someone if they don't stimulate your mind. And I'm the same way. If you can't, I mean, don't get me wrong, I used to fuck whoever, whatever. But it was because they stimulated my mind. I had a great connection with them. I had a great conversation with them. And at that point, as I've gone older, I've realized, okay, I don't even care if it's a male or female. As long as you can touch my soul, that's what I want.
That part.
That's what I want. I want someone who can touch my soul. And other than that, I don't give a fuck. I mean, obviously, I want them attractive because I am super picky. Especially with females. I am so fucking picky with females. I know I shouldn't be because girl power, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I'm very picky. I'm not just going to fuck some girl. And I think that's why I've never been with a girl, because it takes, like, half the time I'm like, she's whatever. But it's about touching my soul. All right, Brando, is there anything else that you want to say? I know we've kind of heard about with BDSM from Artiste, and we talked about with Mackenzie about her, her female interactions and sex life. Is there anything that you kind of want to hit home with before we close up this chapter?
I think we covered a lot. I'm not. I don't have a lot of kinks. I don't have a lot of. You know what I mean? I think doing things in public is a taboo. And that's one that I enjoy. Not that I have a lot of experience. I mean, I have some experience with it, but not like a ton of experience with it. But that's something that I think is a lot of fun if you can find the right person, the right girl or partner to say that, the right partner to do these things with. Because any place could be a bed if you're quick and you know what you're doing. Yeah.
I say that, yes. Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I've had sex at a movie theater. In high school, I had sex in the fucking wrestling room. I've had sex in cars. Literally everywhere.
Good on you.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of shared most as to reasons why sex does not equal taboo on chapter 27. If any of you have any questions in regards to sex, curiosity, you got Brando, Artiste, and Mackenzie and myself here to answer anything. I am an open book, which my three friends are open books as well. We are more than welcome to help you guys out through your journey of your sexual life. That's why I chose these three. I have, Artiste, who is gay and has man on man, if that's what man on wait, how do you call it?
Man.
Man on man relationship. I have Brando, who only has a man and a woman relationship, so him and a female. He is not interested in any gay sex. We've talked about that before. And then I have Mackenzie, who you guys have already heard, who has had sex with a man and a female. It's all about being open-minded, knowing what you want, knowing what you like, not being afraid to talk about it. But I had so much fun today. I hope you guys had fun too.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Good. Happy Valentine's Day once again to all of you.
Yes.
For the
Happy
lovers.
Valentine's Day.
Whether you're single, married, in a relationship, gay, straight, bisexual, whatever the fuck you are, I enjoy this Valentine's Day because it's a day of love. Love is love. You can spread love with a friend. You can spread love with a loved one, with a partner, whoever it is. Just remember to love, and that should be your main focus and your main value in life is loving each other. But that's all I got for
And more importantly, love yourself.
Girls and gays, make sure you get some dick today.
Yeah.
And you straight men, get your punani today.
Yeah. Get out there, get into some flowers, fellas. Do it real big. Turn on that romance. It'd be worth it.
I love it. All righty. Well, I want to thank everyone again for watching Tea Time with TNANMNB for chapter 27. Sex does not equal taboo. Let's do one last cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Alrighty, thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.